Hello, Rama Rama Pupodu. Hope all are in good health, feeling great, wonderful, relaxed, and peaceful. Now, let's go to chapter 25, part 2 Qualities of a Sadhu. About this time, another sannyasi turned up. He entered the house and, seeing some plantains in a cupboard, helped himself to them. And then, coming to Ramdas, said, I want a bath. Get me some hot water ready at once. Now, there was no arrangement in the house for heating water. Ramdas and the yogi used to have cold baths. Ramdas made him aware of the situation. No excuses, he cried out. Hot water, quick! I have had no bath for several days. You see, I insist on having it here and now. There was an earthen water pot. The yogi quietly mounted it on 3 stones which he fetched from the compound, and with dry coconut branches lit a fire, and the water was heated. Ramdas and the yogi then gave him a bath. The yogi washed his dirty clothes. The whole thing was performed by both in the best of humor. After bath, he commanded, Where are meals? I am hungry. The meals for Ramdas and the yogi used to come from the city at 12 midday. The time then was 10 o'clock. He was told about the time of meals. Ramdas was prepared to forego his meal for the sannyasi for that day. So he asked his friend to wait till the meals arrived. I cannot wait, he said. I'm going out. I will try to get food somewhere in the town. Saying this, he walked away. At 12, the meals arrived. Ramdas proposed to the yogi to wait for some time, as there was a chance of the sannyasi turning up. They waited for nearly half an hour, but the sannyasi did not put in an appearance. The Raja Yogi suggested that they might finish the meals so that the carrier might not wait for the vessels very long, and added that the Sadhu might have procured food in the city. So they took their food. Just after the meal and the vessels were cleaned, he, sannyasi, entered the house with hasty and eager steps and directly went to the room where the dinner was served. And there he found nothing but a most tantalizing after dinner smell of food, at which he sniffed. Where is food for me? He shouted out. He gave such a furious stare at Ramdas that if he could have swallowed up Ramdas by his gaze, he would certainly have done so that instant. Fine fellows, you have eaten everything and left nothing for me, he spoke with withering scorn. You too shall have your meal, Swami, but since you did not come in time, you will have to wait another half an hour, Ramdas replied. He then instructed the meal carrier to run at once to a certain friend's house and fetch double meals. The obliging young man in half an hour brought a sufficiently large quantity of food, and the hungry sannyasi had a satisfactory meal. The sannyasi stayed for the day. That evening, visitors poured in as usual, but when they saw the sannyasi there, they exhibited looks of uneasiness and anxiety. Two early visitors spoke out their minds in his presence and said, This sannyasi is a great pest. He comes to our houses and worries our lives out of us. He is not satisfied with mere food. He also wants money. We poor people cannot afford to meet his demands. Further, he threatens to hurl curses at us. We do not set much value on his curses, but his behavior is quite intolerable. We would have dealt with him in a drastic manner, but we respect the color of the cloth he wears. While this open indictment was made to his face, the sannyasi, with one leg resting in a lordly style on the other and his right hand twisting one side of his moustache, was smiling most approvingly, as though he were listening to some glorious and noble exploits of which he was the hero. Ramdas then briefly spoke to him about the true qualities of a sadhu. If a sadhu were to remain for a long time at any particular place, he must live outside the town and go to it only to receive his bhiksha. He must never harass the householders. He must cultivate patience and forgiveness. He must never enter their houses without the permission of the masters of the house. He should not ask for money but be satisfied only with the food that is offered to him. To wish ill of anybody or heap curses on anyone is quite contrary to the principles of a sadhu. When he wears the sannyasi robes, he should never, by his conduct, disgrace the cloth. The cloth stands for absolute renunciation. If he finds himself unfit for it, he must never adopt it. Or, if he has taken to it through an error of judgment, he ought to give it up as soon as he discovers the mistake, lest people be deceived by his experience. He must never frequent the bazaars. He must adhere to his solitary abode and do the necessary sadhanas, or enlighten those who go to him for spiritual help. If his trust in the Supreme Truth and his confidence in his own desireless efforts are weak, and as a consequence he cannot progress towards a life which is self-sufficient and independent, he would do well to abandon the sadhu's garb and life and take to any honest profession for his living, suited to his nature. To be a pest and burden to society is to court evil for himself, besides being a nuisance to those who come in contact with him. The sannyasi listened with eagerness and concentration to Ramdas' illuminating speech, with a smile playing about his lips. In the night, the sannyasi was given a cloth to cover himself. Early next morning, as he got up from the mat on which he was lying, he said that he was leaving Ernakulam that day, and taking the cloth with him, left the place and did not come again. That's all, folks. Let's see in the next chapter. Thank you. Bye bye. Rama Rama Puppodu.